Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Invoking the Pranava in the form of Mahaganapati and the Guru, Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, and Mother Saraswati, so that she can sit on in your mind and in my mind and help us to follow the right and the way of truth in understanding the Rasa Leela. And to Radharani. Okay. Shivani, you can start.
Okay, Swamiji, moving to the next slide.
Yeah, no, the slide itself we haven't bring it, and then we'll go to the next.
Okay, you wanted me to play it, is it?
Yeah, play this, and then we'll go to the next.
I'll just share the computer sound. Just a minute.
Never mind. I don't hear anything though.
Yeah, neither do I. I'm just wondering. Okay, it is sharing the computer sound.
Little while ago, the sound did come.
Okay, let me play this offline and try again. Yeah, it's going to work now. Just a minute.
Okay.
सिंदूर लाल चढ़ायो अच्छा गज मुख को चोंदिल लाल विराजे सुत गौरी हर को हाथ लिए गुड़ लड्डू साई सुरवर को महिमा कहे न जाए लागत हूँ पद को जय देव जय देव जय जय जी गणराज विद्या दाता धन्य तुम्हारो दर्शन मेरा मन रमता जय देव जय देव
So we are coming to the second day of the Rasa Leela itself. We have to pray that we see it in the right spirit and not in any gross spirit. Otherwise, all of us will have the dosha of getting into the deep waters without knowing swimming or diving. So, at least for this period that we are doing the Rasa Leela every day, let us forget every desire that we have and accept only His. When we do this, the bhakti really starts. Now you have to understand one more thing. They say, when jnana and bhakti attained, then the body identification goes. Because bhakti only comes when you are able to give up your identity with this physical body that we call a Brahmin, a Kshatriya, a white person, an Indian, an American, an African, a tall person, a short person, a dark person, a dusky person, a white person. These are the identifications of the body which prevent us, the Maya in it, that prevent us seeing the omnipresence of the divine in every body that is around. And not only in human beings, also in animals, trees, plants, in everything. That what the divine which is in this body, I couldn't say my, in this body as A paramanu, small subatomic, will beneath, smaller than an atom, is in you, is in this computer, is in the wall, is in the dog that is barking, in everything that is created, irrespective of whether it is in a country that is not of yours, in a country which is your country, whether you have caste distinctions, racial distinctions, all these have to go. And then you will see the soul in every person. And this is not just as a concept, you have to live with it. You have to make that part of your lifestyle so that you understand that this is the Atma that I am serving in every other creation around. So when you see a person who's mentally disturbed, the divine is in that person. Serve the divine in that person. If you see a tree that is wilting because of lack of water, pour water to that tree because the divine is in that body of the tree and you have to take care of it. So this is how we have to work, and sometimes life will seem a little um, what would you say, disappointing, because it will not be just the minute we water something, it's not going to immediately stand up and give you fruits. Everything that is in creation has a time period, a warranty period. So even if you have a seed of a grass that you have put in, you're only putting it in. The original Shakti to grow, germinate, and produce a grass, another grass, is in that seed itself. It is not only in the seed, it is in the soil around it, it is in the water that is given to it, it is in the fire of the sun that will flow on it, it is in the space that it is going to grow into it, and it is also in the prana, the wind that blows for that plant. So every creation in the universe has been uh, mothered or nurtured by the Pancha Mahabhutas. These are the space, air, fire, water, earth. And these ingredients are necessary for the physical body and partly for the mind also. And because they are that way, because of the life period, the time warranty, when the time comes, they will move away, and your body that you thought was living forever and ever because you have the money power or you have the power of people's adulation or popularity or a charisma, you can call it anything you want, or even a siddhi, any of these things will give you a sense of illusion that this body will last forever. If I have enough money, I can buy even the hospital. Forget about the doctors. But what happens? There is a Vayu Bhagwan there, the air, and if the air doesn't flow into you, you will have to pay in thousands to get a ventilator. Now, supposing the hospital belongs to you and the ventilator belongs to you, but your lungs are not adequate because of the elements that go to nurture it. You cannot always nurture something that is decaying and the life period is dying. So when you come to that particular person, however wealthy, however popular, however charisma he or she has, the time to leave the elemental body. This is called the elemental body, the physical body, made up of the five Pancha Mahabhutas, or the five elements in the whole of creation. So when you start realizing, okay, so this body identity is not worth holding on to because that is going to change. I might have been Miss World at when I was, say, in my 20s, but by the time I'm in my 40s, I'm no longer even Mrs. World. And when I'm in my 60s, my face will change, my body will change. No matter what I do, however many exercises I do, gym, makeup studio, I might buy out Estee Lauder and have everything made, custom made, Ayurveda. But eventually, a time will come when the elements will say, now this is time for us to leave. There are other bodies to serve. and they will move away and your body will fall. When your body falls, what happens to your identification? Who are you there? If you have ever thought about it, nearly everybody in India at least has seen people who have passed away and leaving the elemental body. And what do we do? Till then, that person had a name, maybe a big person in the village. You might call him a Sharma, or say, imagine we'll keep it as Sharma. But when the elements leave the body and the elemental body is gone, you don't say, please take Mr. Sharma to the burial ground or to the crematorium. You say, take it. Even your close people will call it it, as if it has no identity. So the idea of when you move into Rasa Leela, you have to remember this particular point, that this body is not forever, and therefore I am not the body. Because even when the body is dead, something keeps living on. And that is what we are trying to understand before the time comes to leave the body, so that we will be prepared to move on the next phase of the journey with consciousness. So that is why I said consciousness is very important to feed the karmendriyas. Guru Bhakti is very important to feed and keep alive the jnanendriyas. So when you have that Guru Bhakti and you know the Guru is in alignment with Bhagavan, then you will say, that is why I say Guru and Govinda said in the same words. Then you realize that you might desire something. You know the usual word we say, God proposes, a man proposes, God disposes. That's it, because these elements and the whole universe of karmas and vasanas, there are infinite number of living beings around us, manifested that we see and hear, and unmanifest also. Many of the rishis are still around. And if you're open to their, if you're receptive to them, you can see them, hear them. When your elemental body identity is gone up, when so long as you have the identification with your physical body and someone's daughter and someone's daughter-in-law, someone's wife, somebody's daughter, and this person is being rude to me and I'm not able to handle it, you're identifying with your physical body. Then at that time, constantly remember, this body is not mine. The karma of this body is to get shouted at by somebody, humiliated by somebody. And it doesn't matter at all, because that is the karma of the body. The karma of your soul is quite different. The soul is on par with the divine energy. The soul is an aspect of divinity and will behave in a small way like divinity as a witness. Now, when jnana and bhakti are attained, the body identification goes. Why? Because you have the Guru Bhakti, and when the Guru Bhakti ripens, you will realize that the God speaking through your Guru has decided that certain things should happen this day. I cannot say with my best intentions that this is what should happen and I will make it happen. That is arrogance and foolishness, because you cannot make anything happen. What is meant to happen will happen. You can only do your very best in the situation. Understanding this, now let's go to some of the words. They say the Gopikas and the Gopas left their home and came out into an open place. Now, what do they mean here? The home is your Sharira. You are not the Sharira. You are the Atma, and the Atma has come into the Sharira, the body, with its body identification. So when you say the cowherds, that is the Gopas and Gopikas, left the home, what they mean is they left the identification with the physical body and came out into an open place. Why do they have to leave the Sharira? If they mean they don't have to walk out of your physical body, what they are saying is give up your identification with the physical body. Why? The Sharira is a Bhoga Bhumi. It has Karmendriyas, Jnanendriyas, and it likes to enjoy the sensual pleasures of life. It's an old vasana. It's because of that we have survived. But when you become wiser and whole of humanity is getting ready to move into yet another phase. You've got to remember, even in evolution, they say you were dust once, then you became a stone, and then you became like a river, then you became an amoeba, then you became a cell, and then you became an insect. And along the line of evolution, eventually you became a monkey, then you became a human being, then you became a human being born into a sattvic family, or born in circumstances which may be hard, but which can, tamasic or rajasic situations, which can help in nurturing you to become sattvic. So that is what we are talking about. And unless you are in a sattvic bhumi, that is, unless your body and mind is sattvic, bhakti and jnana will not bloom. The body, elemental body, is a bhoga bhumi, which is hit by many, many meteors and comets that are called greed, lust, ambition, um, fear, all these things that are also part of your old vasanas, which will come up. And you have to leave that identification with all its negative traits and move into the sattvic bhumi. Leave the home, and they went into the sattvic bhumi, where bhakti and jnana will bloom. Now, why did people leave at a certain point in life? Because in the earlier part of life, they had made a moral commitment to a family that they had chosen, and you have to finish that karma, because if you don't finish it, you are not able to go beyond the body identification, because you will still think my husband, my wife, my child, and the attraction and the attachment grows, and the attachment cannot be easily given up. So they say, let Grihastha Ashrama be your second home. Now, at a certain point, your children have grown up, they've everything is settled for them, but we still hang on to our children, saying they have to be near us when I'm old, they have to be near us, they have to listen to me, behave in a particular way with me, my mother-in-law has to behave in a particular way with me, then only I will become okay. I'm under stress all the time. All this is what we have created. So people in those days and people today also, and that is why Swamiji gives a karma sannyasa to many people. You are ready to move out of grihastha into vanaprastha ashrama. Literally, it means going off into a vanam or the woods, gentle woods, taking only maybe your partner with you, because the children have all got settled. Your business does not need you. Money will not buy you your soul and its journey. So when you come to Grihastha at a particular point, even that becomes an obstacle because of the atoms of the bhoga. There are subatomic particles all around us of different people. So somebody will tell you that now that everything is settled, you should take a break. This is what they say. Take a break, go off on a vacation, and everything will be okay. So yes, you say you go off on a vacation, you come back, everything is not okay. Okay? When you take a break, you are actually breaking with your soul, in a sense. You can use it if you are in a sattvic mood. You can go have a physical rest, come back. But it's very difficult. It becomes an obstacle because these bhoga items, people all around you, the collective consciousness which is flowing into you and into them, because remember, we all are one consciousness, that will constantly keep holding you, and the sattva will turn into rajas and tamas somewhere along the way. So in the old days, they would say once a year, go to a tirtha sthalam, that is a spiritual environment, and practice meditation. And when you come back, make your home into a temple. When you do that, then wherever you stay, you are not attached, but at the same time, you have a respect for that place. And when we have respect for a place, we let it be the way it is meant to be. When you have attachment to a place, the respect goes, because now you want it to be the way you want it to be. But that place may be different. If you look at the lives of Swami Satyananda, for example, when he went into Rikya, he went into a place where there was no electricity, no water, nothing, barren place. Life grew around him. That's a different matter. You look at Ramana Maharshi, he didn't build a huge fancy organization. He lived in a little hut sort of place nearing the Arunachala mountain, and his walk was around the mountain to respect the space of the physical body, so he could continue to allow the Atma or the soul to be housed in it for the need of the soul, not for the need of the body. So most of these people lived very simply. They did not wear fancy dress. They did not need to wear geru also. They did not need uh, to dress up with a uniform so that they are accepted in society. And slowly, but the identity has crept in, and the many of the people moving into spiritual life, me included, I'm talking of when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. We find that something is more comfortable. For example, Swamiji said, just have two dhotis and two uh, kurtas. But when I went abroad, I stitched another two kurtas because I could go and wash and wear for convenience. Now, when you get 2 and 2, 4, then the next time you're going for a function, you'll think, why not get another 2? You can wear on special occasions. So these things come very subtly without your realizing it. So household life is sanctified by making your home into a temple. And do what you will in a temple. Anybody comes, anybody goes, is coming with a sacred purpose. And that is for your pets at home, for the servants who come to the house. You don't know, many of them may be even um, more evolved than we are, but are serving out a sentence in a particular physical body due to the karmas that have been triggered in a previous janma. So when you treat your servant badly, or you treat the animal like it is an object that is only meant to take care of your home, but otherwise can be just given some scraps and say, and ordered around, remember that is a karma that your body and mind are starting, and with the next soul that we might come back, we will get a body like a dog or a cat or whatever we are attached to. And remember, attachment can be positive and negative. You can hate a person and be attached. You can love a person and be attached. Neither of it is pure. When I'm talking of love, I'm talking of the love of the physical body, the person you call mine, the thing that you call mine. So when that is given up, then attachment transforms itself into love. And that love has to be further purified. And the love for the Guru and the love for Bhagavan, because they have given us the awakening of the Atma, will let us see them in a more sattvic spirit. And when this gets more and more refined, that Guru Bhakti itself will bring on the Sattva quality into you wherever you are. And when you have the sattvic quality, then you are ready for Bhakti and Jnana to happen. So the idea of going to a Vanaprastha ashram is to cut down on pravriti, that is running after the external enjoyments of life, because you can't put your feet in two boats. You can't say I'll be outside and inside. You can say it when you have gone beyond both into the Atma itself. But we have not gone there, so we cannot pretend to be in that place. So when you cut down on the pravriti mark, that is running after the external material world, then you increase in your nivritti mark, that is going inwards into your home. Now, remember I said the gopikas and gopas left their home and came out. So what happens when you're going inwards towards your home? What you thought was your home, was your physical body. When you go deeper and deeper and deeper, you realize your home is the source from which this Atma itself came. So your home is Bhagavan, the Lokamata, the Divine Mother, is your home. And with Nivritti, even going inwards, you are not going to be completely happy, because this is the material tendency of the mind. You're still tied up to your mind, and the material tendency is always obsessed with pravriti. Now that you realize pravriti is, you don't have anything in the external world that gives you a constant and permanent happiness and satisfaction, you start going inwards. And when you start going inwards, what do? We bring the outwards into the inwards. If you wanted to be popular as a politician, for example, and I'm not talking of any specific politician, I'm talking about a person who plays politics, who would like to be a leader by perhaps splitting, by bringing in some way or the other. That follows you inside, even though your external circumstances have changed. So, there is a story about Aurangzeb. He put his father Shah Jahan in the jail and in the prison. And if you remember, Shah Jahan built the Taj Mahal. So he was a tremendously aesthetic person. But how did he build the Taj Mahal? He had people under his command, and he controlled them and made them build the Taj Mahal. And when they had finished building it, he cut off their thumbs so that they would not build another monument like this. So you can see even something very aesthetic as an element of ambition behind it, and ambition is eye-oriented, mind-oriented. So this Shah Jahan was put in prison. By then he had many of his desires of that level had gone down. And the son Aurangzeb put him in a cell which could look across the Yamuna to on the opposite side of the Yamuna, so he could look at the Taj Mahal. So he said, so you don't miss anything, your wife is not here. You're not going to be walking in the Taj Mahal anyway. So from here, every morning, open your window and look across, and you'll see what you did, the wonderful things that you have done. So he had a permanent darshan of the Taj Mahal. After some time, after many months of this, he got tired of it. He was not satisfied. But the son did not want to let him out, lest he come and throw him off the throne. Times were like that, times are still like that. So what did he do? He thought, what is it my father actually feels happy about? He likes to control people. So what did he do? He brought a whole lot of young children, 10 or 12 or 20 or something like that. And he told his father, can you please teach them the Quran? So the father said, okay. That was all he was capable of doing at that time. So he would just, every morning they would come, he'd say, now sit down here. And when they go, he would say, wash your clothes, come back properly, wipe your feet on the carpet, sit down there. Now repeat after me. So he got the capacity of controlling these children even when he was old. And this need that he had for control was satisfied to a large extent. Much later, he wondered whether this was enough. But at that time, why I told you the story is to explain to you what attachments we have on the outside will follow us when we go inside also, Nivritti Marg. And you have to go even beyond the Nivritti Marg. And this is where the Guru Bhakti always helps us, because the Guru is beyond both. So you have to herd the cow. What is a cow? Cow, go. Go means light. Go means the earth. There are 10 different or more meanings for go. And go means light. Go means the pranava in the Vedic language. So what they say is you have to become a cowherd. You don't let it run helter-skelter. When you're herding a cow, you go behind it gently, taking it to the place it has to go. When you do the grazing, you don't just let it run haywire. So that is how you're the woe in you, that is your own understanding, the illumination. All this you allow it to go gently, gently in time to the proper place. In Tamil, there is a song about Karna in a movie called maybe Karna, I don't remember, in which they say that just to Karna's ambition to want to be on par with other Kshatriyas in his archery made him make friends with Duryodhana, and Duryodhana led him completely astray. And Krishna says, just for that little debt that you owed. And Krishna asks him later, why did you do it? He says, he was the only one who accepted me, and I had that moral debt to repay him. And for that, he went in the wrong way, although he was such a brilliant person. He was a great dana, that is, he was generous beyond measure. He was good looking. He had the archery, which equaled Arjuna's, the Pandava prince, and perhaps even more. But he had to die on the Mahabharata, on the Kurukshetra battlefield, after getting that knowledge from Krishna as to why he landed up where he was. When you when you meet somebody and you think that person is wonderful because they are motivating you, they are bringing fame, they are bringing money to a holy place or something like that, and then you think this is the best thing that has happened to us. Now we can have an ashram that is run with sattva. Please be alert, because all of us tend to make that mistake, that we think that we are measuring a guru's ashram by our own external ideas of success. And that becomes worse than getting caught up in the material world. So this is what they are telling us when Swamiji, for example, gives a karma sannyasa blessing. It means that he's giving you the capacity to go beyond I and mine. Then when you start seeing your body itself is not yours, then you see that the physical body of the guru is not his either. It is the elemental body. Then where are you supposed to go? You become close to the spirit, the Atma, the soul of your guru. And what becomes close is your soul. And the Atma moves into the Paramatma in the same way, and that is real yoga. So you have to have a spiritual relationship, and you'll find that your guru, the guru, let me say, because there are quarrels about this is my guru, that is my guru, your guru. It's just the same thing we bring inside also. The guru or the guru tattva, as Swamiji says, the guru tattva will come to you from every creation in the universe if you're receptive and you have the guru bhakti. And that is how in the Avaduta Gita, you'll see that the Avaduta says, I have 24 gurus. The plants, the bird, another Avadut that was seen. Even a prostitute became a guru because a lesson was taught through the body, elemental body of the prostitute. Which doesn't mean he went and built a temple for the prostitute and worshipped her. No, it's a tattva. It is not the body. It's the Atma that gives us, that meets with your Atma that is ready to receive. So the Atma is pure, just like the Lord is pure. And when you understand that aspect of it and you go into it, at least during times of meditation, then you, when you give up all this temporary identity, then your consciousness and your guru bhakti becomes intense. When both these become intense, they will tell your body and your mind to go where they ought to be going and not where they are running quiet. Now, with the physical body that we pray, if you are saying, I'm praying to my guru, who are you praying to? A photograph of the man or the woman that you see. That is not prayer. That's what I was talking about yesterday. That is, you have to look at the esoteric significance. the deeper significance of the Saguna Upasana. Saguna means that with form. Okay, you want to worship the Guru or you want to worship Krishna in the form, you need a Vigraha. You need a form there because the limited mind is not capable of going beyond the form into the formless. So you have to start from kindergarten because we are not at PhD level. And many of these Puranas teach us about in stories, in parables, in poetry, in songs. And that is why when you see a poem of Rumi's, for example, you say, wow, how wonderful. But very often we don't take it to the heart and live that way. We get caught up by the attraction of the words. The words are put so beautifully that the mind thinks that if I hear something nice, I become that something. It never happens that way. Because we are in that illusion, you will see that on Vidhan Sauda, that is the legislative building in India, in Bangalore, it would be written that God's work is um, that meaning that the regular work that is done here is God's work. Now, the point is you are using it and you might have the best intentions, but using God's name because God is the permanent archetype in our mind, that which is protective, which is nourishing, and which will always be. It is still a concept. We have not gone into experiencing it. So, what do? We stick to our own vigraha and we stick to our own ideologies, our own words, and it gives us a feeling of security, just like in the outer world where we stuck to the money and the popularity and the power and thought that we were immune to death. The same way we stick to our ideologies and to our images, and we say, this is my Krishna, and my Krishna is better than your Shiva. And that is how fights begin in society. But a wise man will not get rid of um, the saguna, the form that he or she is drawn to and makes. And in that form, they will be able to see the form of every other divinity present, every other person, every other creation, because your God and my God are not separate. They are the same. You call him in a particular name, I call him in a particular name, and at a specific time, when I realize that the name is not the one that I worship, the essence, that is the rasa. Raso Vaisaha. They say that he alone is the essence. Rasa also means taste. When you want to eat something you like very much, it's a taste we go with in the beginning. So the rasa or the rasa leela pertains to the taste or the essence of the divinity in the material world, which consists of your physical body and your mental structure. Only when you give up both these as identities, you use them in the right way, but you don't let the body and mind make you a slave to sensuous pleasures. Then, when you are able to go beyond it with the grace of the Guru, then you are moving into an eligibility to worship the essence in your vigraha, in your temple, and that will bring you those vibrations, those supreme vibrations when you realize that. But if you bring hatred into it and say that mine alone, then that will create a negative vibration which will be an obstacle in your spiritual growth. Love your vigraha, love your form, love your people, but don't think of them as my people. Don't think of them as, we are one community. You can see how it is happening now in legislative life also. Everybody is your community. Every creation in the world is your brother or your sister, whether it's a tree or a plant or the garbage on the street, everything has a purpose. Everything is a sibling. So having said that, now we are coming to the Rasa Leela itself. Now you will see that the word Radha is never used in the Bhagavatam. You never see the word Radha. Even at one particular point, Shukha Brahman refers to her as the Aradhita. Aradhita means one who is worshipped, worshipable, that sort of thing. And why did he do it? Because he had found the essence of his guru within him. And having found it, he did not want to put other people in a state where they are going to look at his guru in a gross way as the physical body and mind. But um, and who was Shuka's guru? Shuka's guru was Radha. Now, why was Radha Shuka's guru? She took him to Krishna and she united his Atma or his soul with the soul of the Paramatma. So, because of Radha, he got Brahma Sambandham, that is a joining or an association with the Brahman, the pure Supreme Soul. Without Radha's grace, blessings, anugraham, he could still have got it, but it would have been very difficult to understand the Rasa Leela also, because the Tattvam is very, very secret. Sukha Brahman, who was born as a completely uh, supreme consciousness being, and I won't go into his story now, you just got to accept this from me, was responsible for his father writing the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he was also responsible for the um, uh, telling Parikshit the story of the Bhagavatam and bringing to light that the Bhagavatam is the divinity of the Lord, which is in this form, the form of words, the form of sound vibration, Shabda Brahman. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is not just a book, it is not a concept, it is where you keep the book. Even if you don't know to read it, you keep the book in your house, it has those positive vibrations which will remove negativity. So, Shuka in his previous life was a parrot. In Radha's house, sitting in a golden cage, he would keep saying, Radhe, 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 he would say. And one day she was wondering, who is calling her like this? Radha is the power of daya, of compassion, kindness. She is the kindness, the energy of kindness that is in Krishna. She's given a form, so we understand it as a story to our limited minds. She's called as Ahlada Shakti also because she is his delight. She's not separate from him. His delight is personified as Radha. So she takes the parrot in her hand and it's continuously saying Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. Or somebody must have taught with that. She takes the thing in hand and she says, Vatsa, child, she says, Krishnam Vada, say Krishna, Krishna instead. So this was the Upadesha that was given to this parrot, initiation to the parrot of the Krishna mantra by Radha, the kind, the compassionate aspect of the Guru, who Krishna is called the Jagat Guru, so is Shiva called in his form as Dakshinamurti, so is the mother called Guru Rupini. So it depends upon each one's particular affiliation and to whether it's the mother or to the father or to the, it doesn't matter who it is, but you have to see the essence in that being, which you will see when you see the essence in yourself. So, as a parrot, he practiced and he got eventually the darshan of Krishna through Radha. So, Radha is Adi Shakti, she is Durga herself in another form. Adi Shakti means the first power that goes into manifestation. She's called the Samyojika Shakti, that with Samyak, which completely joins you with your own source, your own origin, the Supreme Lord's Atma. Now, only with Radha's grace one can have Krishna's darshan. So in the Bhagavatam, she is called Shri, and Shri in the Bhagavatam, only two people are called Shri. One is Sri Krishna, because he and she are the same, and then there is Sri Shuka. They don't even say Sri Vyasa, they don't say Sri Sutta. They will not say Sri to anyone else in the Bhagavatam. That is, Vyasa went into Samadhi when he was asked to compose it. And the only meaning that the Sri Sukha means the Guru Sishya Sambandha. And because um, because he is the Patra for the Guru's grace, who the Shuka Brahman, he is the vessel to get that grace. And because the word Shri comes even before Shri Krishna in this, the Krishna is Radha's Adhishwara. That is the energy that the consciousness to control, and she is the controlling force by the joy she gives. Okay. Now Radha says to Krishna, she says, I love this parrot, and hands it to Krishna. She is the Guru who joins you to Paramatma. And in the same way that in the Vaishnava philosophy, they say that where Lakshmi is, then that is where the Karuna or um, the compassion of the divinity is the feminine quality. Some you would have seen in the Ramayana, there were times when, for example, Rama had to kill Khara and Dushana, and he killed 40,000 Rakshasas with a single shot, all alone by himself. He gives Lakshmana a look with his eyes, which is telling Lakshmana, take Sita inside. She does not need to be outside. And people say that is because he wanted to protect Sita from watching all this and getting worried and causing stress. That is the material way of looking at it. The spiritual way is he sent Shri inside, so her daya would not be available, her compassion would not be available, and he could defeat the negative forces. Because if you do not defeat the negative forces and you look on them with compassion, then you're going to create a whole world of negativity and chaos and destruction. That's how decay happens. For example, a poor man, he had a difficulty in his life because his parents abandoned him as a child. He grew up to become a tyrant, and he has raped many other children. But then when when he's taken to court, there is a human rights association saying that no, please don't give him a life sentence, because it only happened because he was brought up bad. Now, this is okay for a therapist, a psychotherapist, or a counselor if that man goes to that person for help in overcoming his predisposition to kill and to rape and to plunder. But if a judge goes into that same situation of being a poor fellow and lets him loose, and many more children can be molested or raped, because that is his predisposition. So when you're talking about the negativity within you, within me, for example, don't let us give ourselves an excuse by saying, I'm like this only because of the world outside which has treated me like this. Let us give ourselves the humility to say that, okay, I did it when I was tamasic, rajasic, but now God has given me a guru, and the guru is the mother in a sense. The compassion is there that God has, and let me not misuse the liberty he has given to me. So when you get that feeling, then the Bhagavatam is read in that way, and you will see Radha's name is not mentioned. Neither are the names of the various other gopis. They are all referred to as Anya, Ananya, Anyacha, meaning another one. Another one said this, another one said that, because one of the reasons is that you do not say the names of your guru in public. That is to prevent you from demeaning or bringing the guru to your level. You don't bring him out into the marketplace. So you would, in many Tirumeni in Malayalam means that, the sacred face, the sacred person. When you talk to them also, you talk to somebody, let's say, Tirumeni, when are you coming home? You don't say, Swami Satyanandaji, when are you coming? So the reason I'm saying this, these are the cultural um, inputs in a society which helps you keep your sense of something sacred outside. And when you keep something sacred outside, you're keeping that something sacred inside also. If you treat your guru as another person like you, and you try to make a trade with him, or you say, after all, he didn't shave yesterday, or he was eating at early in the morning at 4 o'clock, and you don't eat at that time, what sort of guru? Then that means you're in the wrong place. Don't go to a guru at all. You don't judge, you don't analyze. Because when you don't judge and analyze your guru, for whatever that guru is, because he might be playing a game also to help you bring you to your senses. When you reach that point, then you will not judge yourself also. And you will just see any shortcomings in anybody as something that can be corrected if it is needed to be corrected. Otherwise, you just carry on. This is the way God has made me, and I'm grateful to God. So, the second thing, they don't say the names of each Gopika is because it is meant for everyone. It is this call to the Rasa Leela to play with the Supreme Soul is not meant only for the Gopikas and it happened then. It is a call to you and me and everybody else in the universe. If you can have a female body, you can have a male body. It doesn't really matter. You can see many men who can be very mothering and many women who can go out and be very controlling also. So it's not a question. It's a quality that makes you a man or a woman, the essence of who you are, and not a little bit of what you see as your genital organs, which are so small a part of your whole body. Okay. Now, having said this, just to remember that Radha's name, if Parikshit was supposed to get moksha in 9 days, and Shukra Brahman comes there, and it is his responsibility to give her moksha or liberation, give moksha or liberation from the material body, and to help his soul go on the right path so that he will be merged with the divine. So, because of that restriction, Shukra does not say Radha's name, because if he said her name, he would go into Samadhi. Because to him, she was the essence, the Guru Tattva. So he didn't want to do that. That was one reason. And the second reason was also because it is meant to be common to everybody. Now you must remember, Krishna was 11 years old when the Rasa Leela itself happened. Had he been older, there could have been jealousy among the gopis. But the reason they show you that it happened at this time was that there was never a man-woman relationship between Krishna and the gopikas. So if you see pictures of Krishna dancing with young virgins and him being an older person, it is only a movie, or it is only a painter's imagination of his own inner self onto canvas. He was 11. Some of the gopikas were 5, 6. There are gopikas who can be 80, 90 also, because the gopi was never a person. And so the names were not important. What does it mean? Gobihi pibati iti gopi. That is, they are drinking the go. What do they drink? They are drinking the bhakti rasam. They are bhaktas. When they have this bhakti rasam, then you become a gopi. When you are able to taste the bhakti or the unconditional, unalloyed love that the divine gives you, not that you give the divine. He gives you that love and you say, look, start feeling this. It's not mine. I wasn't like this, but something is flowing into me, which is very loving towards the whole of creation. I'm not judging, I'm not analyzing. Then you are drinking of the bhakti rasam that is available everywhere. You're receptive to that love that the divine gives you. So gopihi pibati iti gopi. She or he who drinks the light, the essence, the indriyas that are able to drink it, that is called a gopi. That energy of pureness, many is called a gopi. Many jnanis want the supreme soul, and if a sadhaka becomes one with God or with the supreme soul, you're not able to taste the rasatmaka bhavana. Unless you are in duality, you cannot look at another and feel that love between you and that being. So it has to be Advaita. When you're into Advaita, then you become that and you're not able to feel that love. But many of the rishis wanted to stay in Dvaita because they wanted to experience this great bliss of being one with the divine. And so they, because the Lord itself is the rasa, the jnani has to be separated from the Lord to experience it. And these were the gopis, gopikas. Now, the gopikas, there were many types of gopikas, and you have to understand, yesterday I started telling you, Nitya Siddha. Nitya Siddha is like Narada, who are always, once you become of that caliber, you don't change. And Sanaka, etc. Sanaka, Sananda, Sanat Kumara, the four brothers. They were always, they had a siddhi in bhakti, in as gopis. So you see, I'm saying Narada also was a gopi in that sense, even though he was a man. Then you have sadhana siddhas. That is people who do sadhana and reach that point. In the sadhana siddhas, you have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 types of sadhana siddhas. The first is the Rishi, is the Shruti Rupa. Shruti Rupa is the sound vibrations of the Vedas, the transcendental sounds that make up the Vedas that the Rishis perceived. It was revealed to them. And these sounds become people, they take a form. The Vedas become personified. So you will find in the accounts here and there that the Vedas came and worshipped Krishna. You don't see 4 books standing and worshipping. They take on forms. What takes on forms? The sound vibrations in the Vedas take on forms of beautiful women. When they say beautiful men and women, they mean people with extraordinary transcendental qualities. But we cannot show a transcendental quality on paper when you want to draw it or speak about it. So you make it like a beautiful woman or most attractive woman or attractive man. Then this is the first one, Shruti Rupa. The Vedas themselves are gopis. Then Rishi Rupa. Rishi Rupa is the rishis to whom the merging has happened, but they retain the duality that they want me and God so that they can experience the rasa, that the taste of the divinity. Then you Sankirna Rupa. Sankirna Rupa is when you see the divine, you can't help yourself, you fall in love. You're attracted. For example, you have somebody like Surpanaka. She was a Rakshashi woman. The minute she saw Rama, she fell in love and she wanted to merge with Rama. But she didn't think of it that way. She wanted to acquire him and acquire him away from Sita. He must be mine only. Now that is control, that is not love. but she has been attracted to him and falls. You cannot help it when you see a divine person, a divine place, or divinity himself. You see once and you are drawn to that person. And that's what happens when you meet an authentic guru. There are gurus and gurus. In the world, you also are a guru because people will call you Guru Ji, but that is not an authentic Gurutvam. So I remember Swami Satyananda always never said I'm a guru. He always said I am my guru's disciple. That's a nice place to be. So Sankirna Rupa, people who see God once, as soon as they see the divinity somewhere, they can't help themselves, they fall, they are drawn to it. Like Surpanaka. Now then you have Anya Rupa. Anya Rupa is a married person who, in the beginning of marriage, everybody feels that what a romantic life. Now we are going to live in paradise and everything will be wonderful. And then when you live with each other, your ideologies might clash. And over a period of the time, the romance might go out of it. I'm not saying it has to, but usually, sometimes it happens. So when you go through all this and then you see, you get a vairagya, a detachment. You ask yourself, is this all marriage is about? This is not what I thought it would be like. Now, such a person is called Anya Rupa, the other one who could be drawn towards a divine, because you say that I've gone into all this, but I realized, like Draupadi, for example, 5 husbands, she loved them all and she looked after them very well. When the game of gambling came, the eldest brother put her as one of the pawns that could be used in the game, and it is so demoralizing to the woman there. And she said, this is all marriage is about, and she moved on to the next stage. Ananya Rupa is the 5th. Ananya Rupa is a being, a person who has Sampurna Vairagya. The person has got complete detachment from everything else. There is no material temptation, either outside or inside. These are people like Mirabai and Sutaprama. So, you have 5 of these sadhana siddhas. One is the Vedas, the Shruti Rupa, Rishi Rupa, where duality is still present. The Sankirna Rupa, which is as soon as you see the divine, you might be an asura, you can be a plant, you can be an animal, but immediately that divinity in that person draws you closer and you lose much of the qualities you have ordinarily. That is why if you see Surpanaka, she was so angry with Lakshmana for cutting off her nose, for trying to hurt Sita. But when she went to Ravana and she said, see, these 2 boys, I cut off my nose at here. You have to take revenge. He said, okay. He said, describe them to me so that I can go and do something about it. So he couldn't identify them. And then she opened her mouth and she said, Rama, oh boy, you should see his shoulders, so beautiful. She couldn't say anything ugly about him because that is the Sankirna Rupa. That you see, you fall in love, you can't help yourself. Then you have Anya Rupa and Ananya Rupa. When the Maya or the illusion of the external and the internal goes, when you realize that you are part of the divinity and that part of you is immortal, it will always live, even though you may come in different bodies. Then that Maya, when it's completely gone, the illusion is gone, then that is what is called the Shuddha Atma or a Shuddha Jivan, meaning a pure soul or a pure being. It's the same soul. And it is this purity they mean when they say that you have to have that sort of purity before you, then only you can join with Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. Because anywhere in you, if you have not followed the yamas and niyamas in the process of learning yoga, which is not necessarily a therapeutic subject, we use it for therapy, but basically it is to take you closer to your own source. And when Maya completely leaves, then you will find that you do not have attraction to anything outside. You see, for a child, when you show it a rattle, for months together, the child will be obsessed and love that rattle. But if somebody gave you a rattle, would you be interested in it? You won't be sitting and continuing, because your illusion with that rattle that it is going to give me happiness is gone. The child thinks the rattle is giving me happiness. The same way, we have many rattles in life. It can be your wife, it can be your child, it can be your power, it can be your money, and you're still a child if we are running after this, thinking that it is giving us some great pleasure. So this comes, the Maya is there because of the desire. Kama. Kama means not karma, kama for the people from abroad. The word is kama, and the R is to be pronounced in karma. Karma is not pronounced as karma. So, Kama Vijaya Leela of Krishna. This thing is called the Rasa Leela. That is the victory over the desires, that game that Krishna plays. So, when you talk about Rasa Leela, he creates a Shringara Rasam and a Karuna Rasam, both to be merged. What is the Shringara Rasam? It is the romance in something. He creates a romance in you, and he creates that satisfaction of telling you, I need to reach it, I want it. It becomes like an obsession. And in the process, what do? We meet people that we are attracted to, maybe good people, maybe just attractive people, whatever it is, and we think this is it. But over a period of time, this wasn't it. Na iti, na iti, neti. There's something more, because this is not giving me permanent satisfaction. So Shringara Rasam is what he creates in the Gopikas, that sense of allowing them to experience the romance, not the eroticism. The romance, please be very clear about this, and draws them towards him. And that rasam means the essence, that is combined with karuna rasam. Karuna means the compassion. It is out of his compassion that he brings on this romance in you, and how you're drawn to a divinity or a divine person or your guru or whatever it is, with the understanding that it is a divinity in the guru that you're attracted to, not his physical form. So when you look at a photo of your guru, can be Swami Niranjan, don't say, oh wow, it's so wonderful seeing him. See him in your heart, and he's always there. So this is called Kama Vijaya Leela. That desperate yearning that we have within the soul is the essence of Rasa Leela. And when it is described, it is called the romantic essence of the Shringara Rasa. Now, desire itself cannot come anywhere Krishna exists. So there is a person called Sridhara Swami. He was a great saint, and he was the first one to write a commentary on the Bhagavatam itself, not very far from our times. And he says that he describes the Rasa Leela as a darpa, kandarpa, darpaha. Darpa means arrogance. The arrogance that comes with attraction and infatuation. And to think that I am special or my beloved is special is an arrogance. And to remove the arrogance from Cupid. Kandarpa is the name of Cupid or Manmata, or the quality of attraction, the quality of desire, that is called Kandarpa. To remove the arrogance of that infatuation, Darpaha is the gist of Bhagavatam, of this Rasa Leela. So Krishna, you must remember, he is not an ordinary man in the Bhagavatam. He is a supreme soul. through his Leela or through his games, he defeated every demigod. That is, say, Agni, the deity of fire. Where is the fire? The fire is outside, the fire is within a piece of wood. You may not realize if you rub two pieces of wood, the fire will awaken. The fire is in the water also. At the depths of the ocean, you have hot experience. If you go to the depths of the earth, you will find there is heat in your body. There is the digested fire. There is fire created when your electrons, when your brain cells are communicating with each other. And there is fire when you are aspiring for something. It moves you to go ahead, closer and closer. So in this way, there are many stories in the Bhagavatam where Krishna defeats many demigods, such as these great powers, like the fire, the mind that is illumined, like Indra, the illumined mind or the self-realized mind can say Aham Brahmasmi with a sense of superiority, saying that I am Brahman, come to there. Until the I goes, there is no Brahman there. And where does the I go? The I goes in the presence of Krishna. That is why he is called Krishna. So when all other, in the stories here, when all other demigods are defeated, Kamadeva or the god of desire alone is not defeated. And he comes to Krishna and says, I'm going to have a competition with you. Let's see who's better, who can attract more, who can keep desire going in somebody's mind and heart. Is it you or me? Now, Krishna gently says, remember Shiva, meaning that once when Shiva was in meditation, this kama or desire goes to him and shoots a flower-tipped arrow, which brings up attraction, attachment, and lust in the human being. He did this because he wanted to help, he wanted to make Shiva fall in love with Parvati. And Shiva just opened his third eye and looked at him, and desire was reduced to ashes. He has no form. It can come in any form that you want. So he is called Ananga, one without a body. And then Kamadeva, or the deity there, says that, okay, let's not take Shiva here because Shiva was in Samadhi. So it was not the appropriate time. Now he says, this is an appropriate. And then what about Rama? He says, Rama had no desires. When he was asked to sit on the throne, he said, okay, I'll come back tomorrow morning and pick around. Then when he was asked to go into exile, he said, okay, go to the forest now. When he killed the negativity that was Ravana, he asked Ravana's brother, Vibhishana, to do the final rites. Vibhishana said, how can I do that? He's been so cruel, so mean. How can I do the final rites for that body? And Rama says, this body had certain bondage with your body, and that was when the body was alive, the elemental body. The elemental body has now gone. Look on that Atma as pure. I put him into that state to hate me so that he'll be constantly conscious of me and therefore be liberated. He is as dear to me as you are to me. And he makes him do the various rituals. So he says, when he says, what about Sri Rama? But he says, but Sri Rama had made a vow that he will only have one wife. And that was a sankalpa. So they say the Gopikas in this will come as one of the stories also, which we'll come to a little later. And so then Kamadeva says that was because he made a sankalpa, but you don't have a sankalpa. You're always running around playing with these girls. And in the middle of all, and you may be beyond that, but what about them? you're setting a bad precedent and the world will follow it because they'll become licentious and people will think this is the way we have to be because after all Krishna did it, why shouldn't I? And that is why we are told that you're not ready to read the Rasa. They say don't teach it to somebody who doesn't believe in the essence of the supreme soul, whatever name you call it. You can't say God told me to kill somebody because then I get great gifts when I go to paradise or whatever. God doesn't tell you. You're using God to strengthen your own ideology, and maybe that is part of your own evolution also. So we are not to judge anybody, but to see that. And Krishna then tells the Gopikas that later on he says, and we'll come into it, where he says, you have to reach that point where you're constantly conscious about the fact that your physical body and all that you have seen as creation in the world outside is very transient. It does not last forever. And the only thing that lasts forever and is eternal is your soul, which is a bit of the supreme soul, which is in different bits in different beings. And which is why Jesus says to his disciples, I will teach you to pray, before he teaches them the Lord's Prayer, our Father who art in heaven. Before that he says, I'll teach you to pray. Now, do you ever teach your children to pray? Do you teach yourself to pray? Do I teach myself to pray? What is prayer? So all this is part of the Rasa Leela. You have to become intimate with your Lord. You have to see that image of yours or that statue that you're praying to, not as an object that is beautiful and have drawn to it, but as a living being. You have to have the bhakti rasa sadhana started. Now, what happened to the Gopikas? First, Krishna starts with getting them intoxicated with him. He doesn't do it, but that's the nature of the body and mind of the gopis, and he allows that to happen. And in that, when they are in separation from Krishna, they go through great agony. It's very much like lovers today. You know, if somebody is in New York and someone else in Chicago, I miss you, you say, if you really mean it. Now, you say that when you don't mean it also, because you can say, I miss you, love, I miss you, honey, and you go off to the ice cream parlor and you say, I felt so good having ice cream because why did you feel good? Because the ice cream compensated for the person you were in love with. That is the material way of loving. Now, for these Gopikas, they were so intensely in love with Krishna. They didn't think of him as a sexual object because they had already given up the elemental material of the body and mind. So the body wasn't there. Only the Sukshma Sharira was there, or the subtle body was there. Now, the subtle body is very much like the gross body. And that separation created such an intense agony in them. It's called the Virahagni, the fire of the anguish of separation that burnt the elemental body, so to speak. So seeing Krishna did not give them enough satisfaction. They played with him, they were happy and all that, because the Dvaita, or the sense of you and me, still survived. They wanted to be merged um, the beloved, because that is a part of who they are. It cannot help it. So they wanted to merge, and so they had to keep the Dvaita, the duality present. Bhakti starts, prema or love starts with duality, and the merging, it ends with the Advaita. The Dvaita is duality, Advaita where there is only one. There is only you your will, not mine, says Jesus. Jesus was a gopi. When you say, I do it for the, when in worship, we don't say, in general, we say, Deva Prithiyartham, for the satisfaction, for the happiness of the divinity, I'm doing it. I'm not doing it so I can get, a 5-star, a 5-storied house or whatever. I'm doing it because I love this being and I want to do something. So I say, what I've done is not enough, my Lord. Kim karomi, what more can I do? Kim karomi, I want to give me a job, give me a seva. That seva that you do when you go to do Karma Yoga is not because you are doing something to make yourself happy. So you don't like somebody there who behaves in a particular way. If you go to give seva, this person is mean to me, and the person may be mean, and maybe that is a divinity coming in that body to trigger you so that you learn to give up this idea of I have to be happy where I am, I have to be treated in a particular way, I have to be feel the convenience of it. Then only I'll go to do seva. That is not seva, that is trading. I'll come, you be nice to me. So when you see people, even in an ashram, who will say, I don't like so and so, he doesn't smile at me, he doesn't talk to me. Well, why does he have to smile at you? There were instances like that. Why does he have to talk to you? The divine in him prefers to be isolated. Leave the person as they are. The divine in him may want to yell at you just to make you alive to that situation that you are here not to be pampered to or to be felicitated or validated at every point. You're doing it because you love that being, that person or that ashram or that guru, and you're doing it out of great intense love. So this when they 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 were seeing Krishna playing with him, the gopikas there, they had the Dvaita, it was present, but it was that difference between you and me that creates the attraction first, and that attraction is attachment. Then you have to go beyond attachment into limited love, and then into unlimited love, and then that becomes bhakti. So he gave them, Krishna gave them a personal experience of that sort of being in love and the anguish of not being with the divine, to lead them towards himself. So it is a story of romance in a Vaishrangara with daya, kindness, karuna, because he did it not because he wanted to have a whole lot of women running and saying, wow, how wonderful you are, and we can't live without you. He did it because he wanted them to realize that actually you cannot live without this Supreme Soul. So they got the...
That's it, Swamiji.
It's time?
It's almost 8 o'clock, Swamiji.
How many more minutes?
A couple more minutes.
Okay. So they got the bijam when he carried the Govardhana mountain, they were looking at him again and again and again. And they were drawn to him, and they were seeing the Swarupa Darshan, the form of his body. And that is where they heard the Anahat Nada. They had gone to the Anahat Chakra by then. It was not his physical qualities. They had gone through the Manipur, and they had reached the Anahat Chakra. In the Anahat Chakra, when you are established, you can hear the sound of a flute. So, Sayujyam, or merging into the being you love, is called Prema. Prema means love. And Narada will describe the Bhakti as Parama Prema Swarupam Bhakti. That is the Bhakti of the Bhakti is of the form of the supreme love, not the general infatuations. So Rasa Leela, there is a Siddhanta, that is, there are rules. One is there is no Sharira bond. There is no bond between body and body. They're very clear about that. Even Shukha will advise you from time to time. Absolutely no physical relationship. It's not a sensual relationship. Then there is no gender for the beings. It is not as if these were women and he was a man. There is no gender. He was a supreme soul. They were the souls that were yearning to go back to the supreme soul, and the soul has no gender. Only the elemental body has a gender. Third, they had no material feeling. They didn't want to go and build a house and live it in there. They knew exactly what they wanted. It was a merging of the soul with the supreme soul. And the devotees, Shuddha Atma, pure Atma, is the Rasam or the Rasa Leela that happens. So we will go into the story of the Rasa Leela in the next class. These are all the tattvas we have to remember before we put our foot into the water that is called the Rasa Leela. Otherwise, we can get submerged into waters that we didn't think would be quite so deep. And that is why you'll find many people just entering into it for the fun of it or for the attraction they feel towards it. And there are camps and retreats of the Rasa Leela that I know about, where people are men and women, and then they lose their orientation, and then there is a real falling down of the supreme energy that they have raised to that level that they can understand what this is all about, the higher and the transforming quality of attraction. And when you make it very physical and ordinary, you tumble down, and all your lifetimes of going to that point is wasted. You have to start from square one. So let us pray that we have the right attitude to start the story itself, the 29th discourse of the 10th chapter, to understand how Krishna created this choratvam, the stealing of their hearts, and how he created the illusions that made them lose their hearts to him. And then how through that he brought disappointment, difficulty, got them to agonize over separation from him. This is the first one, the choratva, or the stealing of their hearts, and the illusions that were created, this first chapter. And then we'll go on from there. When you listen to the dialogue in the first chapter itself, you will have an idea about what the whole thing is all about. So we'll come to that tomorrow. Hari Om Tat Sat, which means I salute the soul in you, which contains divinity. And when you say to me, Hari Om Tat Sat, that is what you're saying. We recognize that we are both the same because we carry the same divinity. So close your eyes and we'll chant Om 3 times, breathing in. Om. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we'll meet again tomorrow. Hari Om Tat Sat.